Today I'm here to rescue you by whipping up one pot of 20 minutes Japanese curry noodle soup. Whenever I have a leftover curries, it will be turned into curry noodle soup the next day, and my family actually likes it better than the curry itself. We're gonna be making a vegan version of it without using store-bought curry loop. I can't wait to share with you. At the end of this video, I'm gonna share our trip to Wakayama Prefecture, so stay tuned. We begin by chopping up veggies. I love how colorful they are. We have onion, carrots, tomatoes, kabocha squash, Asian eggplants, and green peppers. You can use other vegetables like mushrooms, potatoes, bell peppers, celery, and sweet potatoes. The things I wouldn't skip are carrots and onions since it's gonna be a base of the soup. Chop everything into small pieces. Onion, eggplants, and tomato are about half-inch cubes. Thinly sliced carrots. Kabocha squash should be a little bigger than everything else since I want the kabocha to be holding the shape when it's cooked. Chopping vegetable into small pieces is the key to cook it faster. Also mince ginger and garlic for the nice heat and aroma. If you are sensitive to the heat, feel free to add less ginger. When I make this for kids, I only use half of this amount. The exact measurement is always written on my blog. The link is in the description box. Now moving over to the stove, to a pot on medium heat, add a splash of olive oil followed by minced garlic and ginger. Let it cook for a couple of minutes until it's fragrant. Keep it moving since we don't want to burn it. Then add all the vegetable at once together with half teaspoon of salt. Bring the heat to high and continue to toss them until vegetables start to sweat. If you have a time, caramelize the onion first before adding other vegetables to create more depth in flavor. I didn't do it this time for the sake of the 20 minutes recipe. At this point, close the lid and steam it for another 5 minutes over low heat. Steaming before adding any other liquid is important to extract even more flavor from the vegetables. After 5 minutes, onion is translucent, kabocha squash is soft but still retains the texture. At this point, add curry powder and flour. Cook it for 30 seconds to open up the aroma. Add water, apple juice, soup stock powder, and cooked beans. I'm using cooked soybeans, but use anything you have on hand. Lentils, chickpeas all work so well. Once it comes back to a boil, close the lid and reduce it to simmer. Let it sit for another 5 to 7 minutes until the soup thickens to your liking. The vegetable stock powder I use is the one from the company called Onda Umami, which is linked in the description box. It comes in a tea packet like this. We usually just dip it, but this time I tear the packet and add inside directly into the soup for more bold flavor. It's not sponsored this time, but I wanted to share the ways to use for those who bought from the previous video. You can of course use any stock you have on hand. Lastly, season with the soy sauce and miso paste. Before adding them, please have a taste to see how salty your soup is. Depending on the soup stock you are using, the sodium contents differ. For my case, I added 1 tablespoon of soy sauce and 1 teaspoon of miso paste. Once the miso paste is dissolved, we are ready to pour over the noodle. It was only 20 minutes, but it's bursting with the flavor thanks to the umami taste of miso and toasty aroma from the soy sauce. You could add frozen noodles straight into the curry soup if you want to get everything done in one pot. But I personally don't like to add noodles into the soup because I found this makes for mushy noodles and the noodles end up absorbing all the broths. So what I would do is cook noodles in separate pot, drain and rinse to remove the starch, then add some to the bottom of the bowl, or in my case, this pretty small clay pot, and pour the soup right over the top. Alternatively, you can microwave the noodles 600 watt for 3 minutes. Not only does this maintain the integrity of noodles, but if you are going to make batches, this is going to last you a lot longer. The soup can be kept in the fridge for 5 days. Feel free to change up the noodles to soba noodles, rice noodles, even pasta. The options are endless. Garnish some chopped spring onion or any other fresh herbs calling for your name. It's ready to be enjoyed. As for the complete meal, I highly recommend pickled ginger to go with it, so let me briefly show you how to make it. First, cut off the bumpy part of ginger. We're gonna slice it with a peeler or mandolin, so it's better to have a flat surface. Then just remove the skin. I tried once with the skin on. It was too fibrous when you bite into, so I recommend peeling it completely. Then slice it along the fiber to retain the pleasant texture. You can also slice with the knife, but you want it to be really, really thin, almost like a paper thin, so it requires a bit of skill. Mandolin is the best tool for this. Just be careful with your hand. Then into the boiling water, we're gonna blanch the ginger for about 1.5 minutes to remove the pungency of ginger. If you're sensitive to the heat, do another 1 minute. My recipe is a bit on the pungent side, which is exactly how I like it to be. Drain, then let it cool down under the water. When it's safe enough to touch, squeeze the excess water. Sprinkle 1 tablespoon of salt to season the ginger first. Leave it for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, give it a final squeeze, then set it aside. Next, we're gonna make a marinade. To a saucepan, add 1 cup of rice vinegar and 5 tablespoons of sugar. I'm using kibisato, which is in between the brown sugar and the refined sugar. I don't recommend brown sugar since it's too overpowering, but any other sugar should work. Bring it to the stove, cook it over medium heat until it comes to a boil and the sugar is fully dissolved, which took me only a couple minutes. This process will offset the tartness of vinegar and make it mild in taste. My recipe is on the tangy and pungent side compared to the store-bought one, so feel free to adjust to your liking by adding less vinegar or more sugar. All the detailed adjustments are written on the blog. The link is in the description box. Off the heat and let it cool down. Into the clean glass jar, place ginger. Make sure to squeeze all the moisture before adding in. It will allow your pickled ginger to be bold in taste. Then pour the marinade. Let it submerge and close the lid. My hand smells like a ginger. I love this gingery smell. It's so refreshing. Keep it in the fridge overnight, ready to be enjoyed. It will last up to 3 weeks in the fridge. It sounds peculiar for the apple juice, miso paste, and soy sauce to be in the curry, but trust me, all marries nicely in one pot. When I have a time, I grate the fresh apple as opposed to using apple juice. Curry powder is sometimes a bit spicy to my kids, so adding apples will cut through the heat and make it more enjoyable for them. If you find it's too sweet, feel free to reduce the amount of apple juice in half or add more curry powder for a nice kick. It tastes so much flavorful when you let it sit and simmer on low temperature for a while. Let all the flavor and vegetable and spices melt together so beautifully. If you have more time, it is always nice to cook it longer. We're gonna end up this video with a trip to Wakayama Prefecture. It's not the most popular place to visit, but I found the people there and the accent they have are so sweet and nice. I can't wait for you to visit Japan one day. Where was the best place to visit in Japan? Share that in the comment section below. I would love to know this, and I'm sure lots of other friends in the community would love to know this too. Thanks a lot for watching and see you on the next one. またね。バイバイ。